You are doomed and guaranteed to fail if you think you can win against a narcissist by being direct, amicable, cooperative, understanding, and compassionate in a situation where you cannot go no contact, or in a co-parenting situation where your children are involved, or during a divorce with such a monstrous individual. These people only know how to weaponize these traits against you, and they know how not to be everything that your nature tells you to be. You have to have a strategy to defeat them at their own game, to fight back, and as they say, to manipulate the manipulator. How do you do all of this? What strategies am I talking about? Let's find out in today's episode. Hi, I am Danish, a psychologist and a narcissistic abuse recovery professional. Today's episode is all about uncovering and learning different tactics to defeat a narcissist at their own game and to fight back strategically. If that sounds interesting and you are eager to learn more, please make sure to subscribe before we get started, because as I always say and request, your subscription to this channel helps spread awareness about narc abuse. Step 1, try to stay 2 steps ahead of them, not just 1, if you want to corner the beast. See, your fight with a narcissist is a big chess game. Before you make any moves, you have to predict what moves they are going to make. That is step 1. And then you have to have your moves ready to counter their moves. That is how you can properly corner them. They follow very predictable behavioral patterns. They get really angry, they become reactive, they lie. In any given situation, you can almost tell, if not exactly, you can almost tell what they are going to do. You have to use your knowledge and awareness of who they are against them so that you can make them make moves without knowing that you are doing it. Let me give you an example for your better understanding. Almost all narcissists are heavily image focused. They want others to think of them differently than who they are in reality. They want to fool others into thinking they're a great father, they're a great mother, they're a great spouse, or they are a victim in the situation, which is what they are going to try to prove. So your task in this case is going to be to find out how you can make a move by weaponizing their image against them and kind of force them to do what they wouldn't be willing to do otherwise. For example, your goal is to get them to sign a co-parenting agreement. And the image they sell to the world is, oh, I'm a great parent. I only think about my children. I put them first. So you have to tap into that. How could you possibly do that? By making whatever you are asking for about children and how it is going to benefit them. Essentially, you have to shape the environment in such a way that if they were to agree to your conditions, that would prove they are not what they claim to be. You have to create an if and then kind of situation. If you are a good father, then you will agree to these terms. But be very cautious. You cannot go in there and just say it, oh, if you are a good father, then you will do this. No, you have to be quite strategic. You just have to tap into that image and make it seem like, suggest indirectly that this is what a good father would do. If I were you, I would do this. That's how you have to create the situation. You have to lure them into the trap so that you can protect your children, get to spend maximum time with them so that they do not get to abuse your children, and help them heal. That is what your agenda is. Having that said, you should go in with a clear mindset about what you want and why you want it, and then how you can get it. Unpredictability is going to be your worst move if you just go in thinking, oh, I'll sort it out, because they say, oh, we'll sort it out mutually. That is never going to happen. Number 2, give them drip supply. See, you cannot disagree with a narcissist continuously and assume that they are going to agree with you if that is the situation. If you want them to agree to the fact that they owe you, let's say, $2 million in alimony, or that is what you should get, they are not going to give it to you right away if you do not give them some form of drip supply. An example of this could be a narcissist's desire to win and to defeat you. Now, how can we potentially make them think they have won and you have failed? Possibly, you can ask for something that's way higher than your actual amount, knowing that that's not what you are going to get. And then they will give you something around that number, thinking that they have won and you have lost. What is the drip supply given here? You have made them think and feel they have won, they are better than you, they have more brains than you, when in reality, you have driven their behavior through their fear for failure. This is yet another example of know your moves, be 2 steps ahead and give them drip supply. Sometimes you have to stroke their ego as well, but that's not going to work all the time. And you have to be very cautious when doing that. If you, for example, tell them via text that you are a good father or you praise them in a certain way, you have to know if that is going to be used against you in the court system, because tomorrow they can claim that you are lying, that you actually believe they're a good parent, they're a good person, and they might provide your text as a proof. So you have to be quite tactical when stroking their ego, when giving them drip supply. What you can do is you can also selectively agree to the things that benefit you and your children, but you always have to make it about your children and not make it about yourself. Because what they do not want to do in any case is benefit you. They will go to any extent to harm you. You have to understand it. And you have to know that, your amicability, the desire to be cooperative, direct, and end it nicely, that is just a fantasy. Please leave it there. That's not going to work here. You are in a battlefield. And every move you make has to be made very cautiously, because you can step on a mine. This is a minefield. So you know what path you are going to move forward in, and take your steps cautiously. Number 3, which is the opposite of what I said earlier, be very unpredictable. But when it comes to making moves, do not share every single bit of information. Do not show them your cards. Keep them very close to your chest. You should have a number of tools, a number of weapons to launch against them, but they should not know what exactly you have your arsenal. For if they get to know what your strategy is, they will have a counter strategy to defeat you. Ethical, unethical, it does not matter to them. If a narcissist can, they will. That is their mantra. If I can, I will. There is no element of conscience, which could trigger that thought process of, should I do that? Can I do that? Is it even legal to do that? No. If they can, they will. Be very unpredictable when it comes to showing the world who you have dealt with. They have a lot to say, you have a lot to show. And when you become unpredictable, the narcissist starts to squirm, because they need to read your emotions, they need to read your mind, they need to know what you are doing. If you approach it quite casually until the right time comes, and you strike when the iron is hot, basically when you show the world who they are through all the things that you have documented, and by explaining their traits and backing up their personality traits with evidence. I'm talking about being vengeful, being aggressive, being controlling, being punitive, being manipulative. That's who they are, and the court system understands those traits. So when you do that, you are going to be very unpredictable, and that can expose them. That can trigger their narcissistic rage, and then they might shoot their own foot by showing the world who they are behind that facade, underneath that veneer. They will tear themselves apart, and you just have to witness that by being silent. You cannot react to them emotionally, because if you do so, you will become their puppet. You have to fight them internally before you fight them externally. Keep that in mind. 4th point, set clear boundaries, but not with them. You cannot set boundaries with a narcissist. Set boundaries with yourself. Remember this very well. You cannot control their behavior. If they know something is bothering you, they will do more of it for that is what benefits them. So set boundaries with yourself. What does that mean? That simply means know what your non-negotiables are. Know when you have to step out of the game. Know when you say no. For example, if they go on being crazy and they call you names, they yell and scream, that is when you say, I'm not ready to have this conversation with you right now. It doesn't seem you are in the right state of mind to hold this conversation, to hold space for us. I'll come back to this when you are ready. That is what you do. You know when to say no, but you have to do it for yourself, not with them. When you set very clear boundaries with yourself, naturally you take back control, because now you don't depend on the narcissist, you don't depend on their actions. You depend on your response to their actions, which is solely in your hands. For example, if they show up at your physical place, you know how you're going to respond to that. You know you're going to either call the police or do something that will make them face the consequences. So know what your boundaries are with yourself and strictly follow them. That is your superpower. If you want to learn all these tactics in depth, in more depth, and have a lot more clarity, enroll in my life transforming program called Master Co-Parenting with a Narcissist. In this program, I teach you how to fight a narcissist by using their own traits against them, and how to prevent your children and yourself from being further abused. This program is filled with all the tools, practical tools necessary and required to find a lawyer who is narcissism informed and who is actually going to help you, and to remove that cognitive dissonance, have clear mindset, and the ways to talk to your children, nurture them properly, heal them, and how to talk to the narcissist, and so on. Want instant access? Click the I button above or the link in the description of this episode. And with that, let's bring today's chapter to an end. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know what you think about what I shared today in the comments below, and I will talk to you in the next one. Until then, as always, let the healing begin and continue.